Welcome to the Sister Street Show with Mary Nunley and Sharon Giro, interactive show and virtual playground where we explore topics around entrepreneurship, online and in-person events, and the games that can be played with all of it. We invite you on our journey of sisterhood discovery and trial and error in the adventures of online entrepreneurship.
Welcome back to the long-delayed episode of the Sister Street Show. I'm one of your co-hosts, Mary Nunley, with my always fabulous co-host.
Aloha, it's Sharon Girl. Welcome back, everyone.
Yes, and Sharon and I like to take some time off to develop ourselves, to think, to plan, to learn, and she's also been helping me in my first foray into the world of summits. And so while you've seen a little dip in Sister Street episodes, it's not because we've forgotten about you, loyal and faithful audience. It's because we've been working on lots of other projects. And as so often happens in life and in business, the best laid plans don't always pan out the way we want. And we're here to say it's okay.
Mhm.
So
It's okay, but you want to also have transparency. Why were we gone? What happened? And what does that mean for you? And what it means for you, hopefully, is great things because we have something to share at the end of the episode that's coming up very soon. And if you missed us for our content, this is going to give you back the gift and more of anything that you might have missed from the few weeks that we were prepping for this, shifting into the next season of the Sister Street Show, and also focusing on what we're talking about today, which is self-care. You know, there's been a lot going around, Mary, right? And
oh
so
yeah.
we want to say, as Mary mentioned, that it's okay. It's okay to do life while your business is building, while your job is there. Because I'm listening to this book, Abundance Now, from Lisa Nichols. If you guys haven't heard of Lisa Nichols, she is one of my current favorite inspirational speakers. And she talks at every meditation about how you can stop and take a self-care break because the work will be right there waiting for you as soon as you're ready and when you come back.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's just like we've had a really busy several weeks in a very positive way here at my company, and getting up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to make sure that we're meeting deadlines. And this morning I just went, you know what? I really miss my morning routine. And so I got up at 5:30, I made a cup of tea, I sat down, I read, I did my, just sort of relaxation stuff and went, oh, I'm going to get on the computer at 8 o'clock this morning. And guess what? The world didn't end because I wasn't answering emails at 6 a.m. It was, I needed that mental break. And Sharon and I have had this conversation about self care because I'm just like, no woo, no like, hot baths and rose petals. And one of the things I've learned from our conversation, Sharon, is that self care could sometimes be something as simple as I want to get my routine back. I need to ground myself. I need to have that cup of tea and read for 15 minutes to feel like I'm calm and ready to approach the day. And so, why don't you, kind of take us down this path of self-care, especially for business owners? We're not going to talk about the fun like and the bathtubs and the bath salts and the chocolates, and that is a form of self-care, but our audience is primarily people that are running businesses or starting businesses. What are some things that you can do for self-care during your workday that help you kind of get that sense of calm that we often are missing?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for introducing the topic, Mary, because this is it. Self-care is on trend, and you'll hear about all the fun stuff that you can do. And that is part of it, right? Pampering and fun. But the most important thing about self-care is the self part of it, that you're aware of your body rhythms, of your mental energy, and that you manage it so that your life works for you. Self-care is making your life work. And self-care is on a spectrum. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But let's break down what that self and that care is. That self is mind, body, and spirit. That is a little bit, people think the woo, but truly you need to understand that to be balanced in your body, balanced in your mind. You have to know that you're doing your job or doing your business for a higher purpose, right? It's not just to get a paycheck, it is to help others, or it is to create a legacy for your family so that they don't have to work as hard as you do. So having that bigger purpose is important. Then having your body work, having the right proper posture is important in your day-to-day well-being. So if you're sitting at the computer, make sure you stretch and do rotations on your shoulders periodically. Make sure you look away from your screen at least every hour so that you can rest your eyes, right? But you have to have your body at a good place where you're not in constant pain. Because if you are in constant pain, you cannot focus on your work. You're going to make more mistakes. Your focus is going to decrease more rapidly. You can't work those longer hours. And so you need to make sure that your body is not in pain all the time. And then that mind, that mental toughness and that mental resilience comes with periods of break, right? Mary sometimes has to schedule in her lunch break because she's got so much going on in her day. So mind, body, spirit on that self-care. What do you think, Mary? What is the most important piece that helps you be on your best at work?
Yeah, no, I agree though. If your body is in pain and you're uncomfortable in your physical position or how you're feeling, that's really does have a strong impact on your work and your productivity and also your relationships with people. Because I know on days when my back is really tense and tight, I tend to snap at people a little bit more because I hurt, but I don't know where it's coming from. The other thing that little kind of plug here because we always like to share tips and tools and stuff with people. But as you were talking about that self care, I have an app on my computer called Focus DNA, I think. Um, and what it does is it tracks how I bang on the keys on my keyboard and it records how stressed I am, how tired I am
So
based
good.
on how I'm typing, and it is typing DNA focus. It is the coolest thing. And it gives me this graph that shows like, okay, Sunday morning at 4 a.m. when you were up, when you should have been sleeping, you were super tired, but Wednesday at 3 p.m. And it's really nice because I'm getting a sense of when are my peak hours to work on certain things. So but it all ties into the mental clarity, the physical clarity, and it's just like it's amazing what technology can do, but it's kind of creepy, but it's also really cool.
It's so cool. Well, and guys, we know you love when we do those drops on a tech tool or a fun thing. So mark that down and see. And your self-care tip or our challenge to you, Mary's and mine, is that you pick the one time of day that is your focus time, is your on peak time, is your just best, where you feel good, because there's a couple of strategies to make your work better based on that. But you have to first know your energy. So there's the tech tool that Mary, and it'll be in the show notes that Mary dropped. And there is also just the pen and paper. So if you need to track in your day, just mark every half an hour, whether you do a timer that dings or you just remember to check every half an hour, and write down, what am I doing? How do I feel? And then if you really want to challenge yourself, why am I feeling this way? That will start to get you more internally focused on where you are in your day. And after you've done that for 2 to 3 days, you will see where your best time to work or to be is. That's the best time to either focus on your hardest tasks because you want to match your energy level with the tough stuff, and that'll make the rest of the day easier and you feel more accomplished. Um, and or that's also the best time where if you're in the best mood, you want to share that best mood with your best colleagues, perhaps even your partner. But just that's the time to send a text. That's the time to pick up the phone and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. You really mean a lot to me in my life. And that brings overall well-being as well.
Oh, I love it. And, that could also be the time at work when you schedule meetings with people, even if you have to deliver like less than positive news. When you're feeling good, that will change the way that you deliver that message and perhaps take some of the tension out of the situation.
Love it. And what Mary mentioned is perfect for you. And then can you see the ripples as a leader where if you start to know your team's energy, you can deliver news that will be more receptive, be more well received. You can roll out meetings that are focused on new endeavors versus challenges. You can start to strategize around this thing called energy, which, guess what? Energy might be something that we think we don't understand, but we all know how we feel when we eat good food versus when we eat, I was going to say crap. We're going to say crap. When you
Yeah.
eat bad food, right? So that's energy. That's your body's energy. So also manage your mental and emotional energy because people are heading towards burnout if they don't understand themselves and then manage and optimize that as well.
No, that
So
makes
that's
sense.
sort of the self piece. And then we're going to quickly jump into the care. Self-care, there is an acronym that I use for care, and that is your C is going to be your connections and community. You need community to take care of yourself. We are not, as human beings, meant to be alone. So making sure you have that community around you. A is for action. Self-care is not just a process of affirmations and dreaming. You need action to take care of yourself. That action means get off your chair every hour and stretch. If you're sitting in this position, go in this position. If your job is reaching up as an electrician and you're completely in a spread out pose, then come down and curl up. But you need to have that movement that your body is meant to do. So action is important in that care. And then there's other actions where you're reaching your goals, you're creating positive habits, but A is for action. Your R is going to be for rhythm. Because if you think about it, everything in this world is about rhythm. That means your habits. That means having your days balanced. So that first exercise with the self, knowing which part of your day is your best, create a rhythm around that. And you'll start to gain momentum, and that'll start to create a better pattern for you than the one you've had that may or may not be working as well as you want it to. And then the E is going to be that E for energy. So making sure you understand what gives you good energy, what gives you bad energy, who gives you good energy, and who gives you bad energy. And you can't always cut out some of those relationships, especially if you're in a corporate environment or you have people around you that you can't quite say, I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. But knowing where the energy goes, you can then start to self-manage, either give yourself a pick-me-up after, limit the time frame that you're in meetings with people that have, negative energy, but you with awareness can start to create boundaries, you can create strategies so that you are taking care of yourself better. Mary, what do you think?
No, I love it. And I really like the point about the energy, both the energy that your body needs to fuel you, but also the energy of the emotion and reading that room. And again, having those strategies. If you know that you've got to be in a 2-hour meeting and you're not somebody who likes going over financials and you're just like, oh, the person presenting this is out to get me or whatever, what are some things you can do before that meeting to kind of shore you up and give you that energy to get through? Because I'm guilty of this, and people that have worked with me know that my face tends to be a little bit more expressive in meetings and perhaps it should be. And so, you get called out for the rolling of the eyes and stuff that you didn't realize you were doing because my head's going, I can't believe that that person just said that. How stupid could they possibly? And my face is expressing what my mouth is not. And so learning some ways to corral your own energy too, because you're giving out stuff and then people are reading off of that. So this could be a very different conversation if Sharon and I were having this chat and I'm on my screen over here going, oh yeah, right. Okay. You're going to watch the conversation and go, well, clearly there's a disconnect. Mary doesn't have any support for what Sharon's saying versus nodding the head and going, hey, Sharon, I've got some questions. So help yourself be aware of your own energy and language too, because what you give out, people pick up. And that can also help energize you if you're like, okay, I think this person sort of, doesn't know what they're talking about, but I'm going to go in and act as if maybe they do know something, or maybe I can learn something from them. And that shifts the energy in the room. I don't know. What do you
Exactly.
think?
So true. And this is, a slight detour, but this is what this journey and this adventure and this show is all about, is helping you as entrepreneurs perform better. So talking about that meeting, because it always comes back, we want to remind you and send you back to the episode in where we had the scalable series, because we talk about how to optimize your meetings with agendas, and really more structure will give you more freedom and help you create boundaries around that energy that's there. And then we also want to give you some tips around meetings, because now that you're listening to this episode, you are one step more aware than the people that are probably in that meeting with you. And how
Mhm.
you can help create that energy is you set the tone. It doesn't matter if you're the leader of the meeting or whatnot. I bring snacks to meetings, because if I know it's going to be a longer meeting, I know people are going to get hungry and frustrated at a certain point. And what helps me is snacks and food. Pause, good food usually. So nuts, things that won't distract from the meeting, but will help fuel people's energy. And if I place that in the middle of the table, everyone is more social, more engaged. And by the way, I've just had a deposit in their emotional bank account. So they like me better because I'm the person that brings snacks. And so there's
Exactly.
ways, right, that you can create self-care for yourself that also helps others, that creates better engagement in the meeting as well. So all these other things, and what Mary said just a moment ago, also key. Maybe you can learn something from it. Guess what? It might not be something about the topic that you're talking about. You might be engaged in wondering, oh, I wonder how Mary keeps her hair so gorgeous. How does she how does she find the right tone for her skin? And so you're looking engaged, and it may or may not be completely focused on the topic. Not that we're recommending that you don't pay attention, but you can still create the energy of engagement that will make you more receptive to what's going on.
Oh, I love that. I hadn't thought about that, but that is really good. It's like shift that dialogue in your head and still pay attention, but focus on things other than, oh, they're so annoying. Oh, I wonder where they got those shoes, or that's a really cute suit, or, whatever. So I like that. Well, I know, Sharon, that we are almost out of time. We've just scratched the surface of self-care. If somebody wanted to learn more about self-care and your thoughts about self-care, where could they get some more information?
The best place is going to be at ohanapreneurs.com. It is the housing for several different things, but there will be a tab that talks about the self-care process and opportunity. So go ahead and go to Ohana, OHANA, preneurs, PRENEURS.com. And that's all I'm going to say, because we've got an even bigger gift for you on content that you might have missed while we took our brief business hiatus. The last thing, though, before we leave self-care, is that it is a spectrum. So
Mhm.
the most important thing when you're starting your self-care planning or self-care considerations is to know where you are, right? And you get to create exactly where you are on the spectrum, exactly what those endpoints are, but you need to have an awareness of that spectrum. On the negative side, right, the very end of the spectrum of self-care is disease and illness. So if you have a limiting factor or something that is affecting your life dramatically, that goes on the end. And then on the positive side is going to be your wealth building, WELLTH, guys, but building your legacy, your wealth. That means that you are taking care of yourself in your finances, in your relationships, and definitely in your business and your personal care. And then where you are on that spectrum is where you'll find what is the next step. So if you are living a great life, then your next step might be building your legacy wealth with your family. If you are in dis-ease, perhaps your next step is just to have a goal for how many hours of sleep you want to have, or making sure that you take the time to breathe and just pause, right? But knowing where you are on that spectrum is important to see what is the right amount of self-care for you right now. So we'll leave you with that. But as we promised, a big gift. Mary, tell us how we can continue this dialogue of self-care, how we can learn so much more about how to be better in our businesses, especially for online entrepreneurs.
Sure. So perfect segue here. The reason that we've been missing in action for a while is that we have been putting together the Transformational Online Learning Summit, which is free. It's August the 15th through the 19th. And it's not just for online educators, it's really for any entrepreneur, anyone in corporate, anyone who has built an online course, is thinking about building an online course. We've gathered 30 experts that you've never met that are in the trenches behind the scenes, and we've got a full day on mindset, a full day on thinking about design, how to develop a course, how to sell and market not only your course but your business. And then the fifth day is my favorite, and it's all kinds of cool tools. So we invite you to join us. It is free. Everything is pre-recorded. So each day you will have a list of speakers to choose from. Pick one, pick all, and they'll be available for 24 hours. And then the next
Wait,
day it'll be a new list of speakers. And then the next day it'll be a new list of speakers. But you have 24 hours to listen.
so good. And there's things here that you guys don't want to miss. The fact that it is speakers that you probably have never heard of, but these are multi six-figure earners. These are strategy leaders that are making impact in multi-million-dollar or bigger companies. And because of the relationships, and this is why Sister Street is all about relationships, because of our client work, Mary specifically in this realm, we get to bring them in front of you, and you get to see what's happening in huge organizations and in very strategic planning. The other thing is, it doesn't matter if you are thinking about a course. Of course, that is great if you are, because this is some very secret sauce. But even if you are, as an entrepreneur, just trying to be better in your strategy, just trying to think how to put any type of project together, an online course is a perfect way to see, okay, from a project, home building project, business planning project. We talked about storyboarding for our lives. There's so many ways that you can utilize the different types of strategies and be creative in your industry. It's one of the best tools that billionaires talk about, is cross-industry strategy. So how do you take a strategy from one industry like food and beverage or hospitality or now online courses, and then use it in your cupcake business or whatnot? So thinking through, there's so many ways that you can utilize this. Do not miss this summit. It is unbelievable. There are quirky, fun topics. There are longer, really in-depth conversations. So you'll find what appeals to you.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Sharon. And again, we will put the link in the show notes so that you can register. It's free and we'd love to see you. So with that, it's time for us to go back and get ready to work.
Aloha. Please check out the summit, guys. And if you have missed it, and this is after August 2022, there is an opportunity that you can still listen to the summit. And so we will have that in the notes after the summit ends. So you will not have missed anything as well. But have a great day, great rest of the week, and we will see you again soon.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for future videos.